Alright. Yo. We're gonna be doing a quick little playthrough of the escape room. So yeah, let's just get into it. First thing you're gonna want to do is look at the date here, and that date is gonna be December 24th. And in the kitchen there is a 4-digit lock, so if we set that to the date, which is December, which is the 12th month of the year, that's going to be 12/24, and that will be the first combination to this lock. Now this is a different sort of escape room from what I normally make. It's kind of styled like a real life escape room, so if you've ever been to a real escape room, this is gonna feel a little bit more like a real escape room than a Fortnite one. We've got this pizza here, and if you look at the table, you're gonna notice everyone's got some delicious food on their plate except for this poor guy. So we give him that pizza, and the secret bookshelf will pop open. Now this gives us access to the basement, but what we really want is to find the code to this frog lock. And this is like a combination lock, like a sliding lock. If you've ever seen one of those on like a locker in school or something, and you're going to be able to slide this all of the 4 different directions. So we're going to be looking for the 6-digit code to this, and that 6-digit code is on the wall in the living room, but we can see some of the paintings are missing on the wall. We've got a hexagon missing. We've got some of them, so we know one of the inputs is up, one of the inputs is left, but we're going to need to find the missing 4. So the first one is going to be nice and easily placed in the kitchen here. That's the hexagon, and that's going to be left. If we go down into the basement area, right here there's going to be one. That's going to be the triangle sort of looking shape. Not really sure what that shape's called, some sort of polygon, but that's going to be up on the input. Down in the basement there's also going to be one right here, and that is going to be right on the thingamabobber. The thingamabobbery doodad. And finally, the 6th and final is going to be up here. But first we're going to have to pick the lock, which is just a simple little timing game. Shouldn't be too difficult for anyone. It's a little bit challenging, but I think most people can probably do that first try. You're not going to be able to go in. You're going to be like, oh, dope, I opened the door, man. And yeah, you're not going to be able to fit through that door. But you will be able to see through that door, which is equally as beneficial. And you're going to see the triangle, the little house shape is down on the shape. And there's also a key there, but we're going to come back to that one. And now if we go, let's look at the wall here. So we've got right, left, up, left, down. So if we put those together, that will be the combination. Right, left, up, left, and finally, to end it off, down. That will pop the door open and will give you access to the music studio. The first thing you're going to want to do in the music studio is look at this suspicious little plant. This is a bomb flower from chapter 4, and if you hit that, it's going to explode in whichever direction you hit it. And if you notice over on the staircase, there's this suspicious wood blocking the staircase, and if you hit that bomb flower, it will blow the wood wide open, nice and easily. Now gained access to the upstairs. There's going to be a 4-digit lock here. This lock is a sort of multiplication, division sort of type lock, and the code for that is going to be found in the basement. So we head back down to the basement, to this science area that I hadn't really checked out earlier. We're going to have a periodic table. Maybe brings you back to high school chemistry class, or maybe you've never been in high school chemistry. Either way, periodic table with elements. And on the table there are elements right here. You can get a closer look at them, but you should be able to read them without looking at that, I think. Now, if we look at the elements, we've got B. And if you look at B on the periodic table, B's right there. It is number 5, but more importantly than being number 5 on the periodic table, it is green. If we look at the second one in this sequence, FM, FM is number 100, but FM is red. Now if you do this for all of the letters, you're going to get a color combination of red and greens, and that is going to correlate to these 7 switches on the wall. 7 elements, 7 switches. And when you do that, it's going to look like this. It's going to be green, red, 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 and then finally the last 2 are green. When you switch all those on, it's going to open up the wall where there are a bunch of numbers. Now there's 4 different colors of numbers here, and each color is kind of its own math problem. If we look at this, 3 plus 1 equals 4. So you're trying to figure out what the missing multiplication, addition, subtraction sign is. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. 8 divided by 4 equals 2. 9 minus 2 equals 7. And 3 times 3 equals 9. And that is going to be the combination for the lock upstairs. And this house it's pretty big, so if you get lost in here, don't sweat it. So we've got plus is the first one, and we've got divide, and then we've got minus and times. So that is going to be the combination to open up the house here. Now inside the house, there's going to be a safe here with a 3-digit code. There's going to be a lot of little number codes you're going to have to find, but we'll come back to that. We don't have everything we need to solve that. What we do have is an alarm clock next to the bed that says 2200. And 2200 is military time, which is what the majority of everybody in the world should know what military time is. But essentially military time is after 12 you keep adding, so you get to 12 and you keep going, and that 2200 is 10 o'clock. So we set the shorthand on the clock to 10 and the longhand, the minute hands, to 12. That will be 10 o'clock. A little tricky if you're not super familiar with military time, but yeah, I don't think anyone should have too much trouble with the alarm clock problem there. Now, here is probably my favorite puzzle on the entire map, and that is a little scale weighing puzzle. So we're going to have these 5, I guess I'd call them statues, 5 little like paperweights, and we also have 5 paperweights over here. And we're going to need to set each one of these 5 guys to the correct weight. This little like pounds or kilograms symbol right there. Now, you have the option to interact with the scale and weigh any one of these against each other. So if I weigh number 1, for example, against number 5, it will show me 1 is heavier than 5. And you can do that with any combination. If we do 3 and 5, 3 is also heavier than 5. Now, using those scales, it's a little tedious, might take some time. You're going to have to deduce which one's the heaviest, which is this octopus, which one's the lightest, which is Mr. Triceratops here, the second lightest, Horsey, this guy's pretty heavy, and Mr. Fish Statue is right in the middle. And once you get all 5 of those guys in place on the table, nope, don't want bandages, you'll have access to this piece of paper. And we can't do anything with this paper right now, so we'll come back to that. Now, let's go back upstairs. We've done everything we can so far in this room, so we'll come back to that. Let's go to the party room and have a little disco time. Now, in here, we're going to have this speaker. And when we turn it on, there's going to be some music that begins to play. A little bit of funky jazz, if you're a fan of jazz, which not too many people are these days, if I'm being honest. But jazz always hits close to home. Little jazz playing, feel free to listen to it while you're playing the map. But there's this ear icon on the jukebox. And if we go downstairs, there's also an ear icon on this little mixing table. I'm not sure what you'd call this. And there's all sorts of different instruments. So the idea is you're supposed to listen to the song and pick out what instruments you hear. With that said, I understand this is a very hard puzzle, so if you get stuck on this, honestly, don't sweat it. It's incredibly difficult. But when listening to the song, I definitely hear bass. I'm hearing those flutes going off right now. We got the bass, we got the flutes, some drums in the background, And if you listen faintly, it's a little hard to hear right now. There's that keyboard piano going on, pops out for some solos here and there. And those are the 4 instruments in the song. No trumpet, no saxophone, no clarinet, no violin. And that will open up the booth here. With the booth open, there's going to be some music icons, and that is just basically telling you to do an emote. Do an emote, and the door will pop open. Now, if you've been looking around upstairs, you'll probably have noticed a map with these locations on them: Whiffy Wharf, Twinkle Terrace, Demon's Dojo, Lost Lake, all sorts of POIs. I'd probably recommend taking a screenshot of this, or if you're playing with multiple people, you can have one person read off the names. But we're going to want to go back up to that map. First, I'm going to turn this radio off because I'm not feeling the jazz right now. I'm a little low energy, so we're just going to sit in silence. But we've got this map here, and we've got Whiffy Wharf to Twinkle Terrace to Night Shift Forest. And if you look at that, you're like, well, what information do I get from that? I mean, you don't get a whole lot of information. But if we look at the shape of that, it's essentially just a straight line. So if we could translate that into a number, that would be a 1. So we've got Whiffy Wharf to Twinkle Terrace to Night Shift Forest. That's going to be a 1. Now, for our second set of POI names, we've got Lost Lake to Brutal Boxcars to Foxy Floodgate. That's a 7. Makeshift little 7. And up here we've got Demon's Dojo to Pumped Power to Seaport City to Shining Span to Hopeful Heights to Masked Meadows. And that's going to be a 5. So the code comes out to 175. And we're going to enter that in on the little briefcase here. One 7. Five. We'll pop that open, and we now have a harpoon gun. Now, you might know what to do with this harpoon gun right away, you might not, but it's going to be used to grab the key, snatch that key up, and we're going to take the key back up the stairs to the locked door over here, which has been looking for a key. Pop that guy in the slot, and it will open up to the bedroom. Now, in the bedroom, there's going to be this little stone guy, and we can rotate him any direction we want. We can spin him around in circles. And Mr. Stone has got his girlfriend over here, Mrs. Stone, and for some reason, Mrs. Stone has been looking out the bloody window, and we can't have that. So we got to turn Mrs. Stone around, and she's got to be looking straight into those beautiful glossy white marble pools of eyes of Mr. Stone. So if you face the statues at each other, it'll pop the door open. Little statue love, you know. Just keeping it fun. And we're gonna have a little combination code in here. First thing we're gonna see is there's gonna be 4 elements: FM, BE, HG, and O. And those are all going to correlate to numbers down on the periodic table. So the first thing you're probably going to want to do is get those numbers. And when you do get those numbers, it's going to be part of a math equation. The second thing you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find these colored shapes hidden around the house, which I'm going to show you right now. First colored shape is in the bathroom here. If you go into the bathroom, you'll pop in here, you'll be like, oh yeah, taking the business. But when you go in the bathroom, you need some privacy. There's also an arrow up there. So if you shut the door, you know, to do your business, you know, monkey business, there's going to be a triangle with a minus sign on it. So the triangle, the purple triangle, is minus sign. So we know whatever the numbers are that we get from the periodic table, the triangle is going to be a minus. It's like a little math equation. Down in the office, there's going to be a red square with a plus on it. So the square is plus. And over in the scale room, there's going to be a green circle with a multiplication sign. So we'll go back up. Actually, yeah, we're just going to skip the periodic table. I'm going to leave that up to you. You guys can figure out the numbers on the periodic table, and you guys can enter them in. But, yeah, so you're going to do whatever the FM number is, multiplied, because the green circle is an X, by the BE number, plus the red right here, so plus HG, and then minus for the triangle O. So it's going to be a little math equation, and what that eventually works out to be is 472, and you're going to enter that into the safe because there's a little picture of the safe on that whiteboard. You might be wondering, what is so valuable that's inside the safe? Because obviously those big crisp stacks of $100 bills, those Benjamins, are not very valuable to whoever owns this house, which, you know, I guess they say money's not the most important thing. For some reason, I'm having a bit of trouble interacting with that last one. There we go. 472, and that is going to pop the safe open, and there's nothing in there but a piece of paper. But that is valuable to you because your objective is to escape. So we've got two crisp pieces of paper with a star on them and what seems to be some hieroglyphics or gibberish. We can't do anything with them quite yet, but we're going to keep those in the back of our minds just a little bit later on down the road. We're going to come back into the disco room where we have all of these pool balls. Someone's been playing a nice game of pool. For some reason the balls, there's only 5 of them though. But these 5 balls are colored and numbered. So the first one is black with the 1, green with the 2, the 3 is blue, and so on and so on. And if you've been enjoying yourself in the basement, you know, maybe having a drink or two with a friend, you may have noticed that the colors of the stools are suspicious, to say the least. And if we look at the color of those balls, black is number 1, green is number 2, blue is number 3, orange is number 4, and 5th is red. If you sit on them in that order, it will pop open the secret little door, which leads to the office, or the construction zone, whatever you want to call it, which gives you a big old meaty sledgehammer. And with that sledgehammer also comes the blueprints for the house, but only for F2, which is floor 2. So if we look at floor 2, there's a big red marked wall, and that wall's a little flimsier, and we can see there's some sort of square there. So we're going to need to figure out where that is. And if we look, you can see staircases, you can see the blue marks are doorways, so you're kind of going to have to use your spatial awareness to figure out where that is. But I'm just going to show you. And you're just going to need to smash that wall down with the sledgehammer. So this is floor 1, this is the ground floor. That's the basement down there, but if we come up to floor 2, and this is the staircase to the left through the doorway, in this room, the red wall would be right here. And I know it's a little hard to kind of figure that out, hard to visualize the house, but that is all of that. Now, we're going to come out here, and we've got this Morse code right here. We're going to have dots and dashes. The short sound, the little beeps, those are dots, and the kind of dings are dashes. So we're going to let this play out. It's about 20 seconds. Now that is going to give you 6 different items to decode. And if you write those down, it's probably easiest if you stay by that. Write them down, dot, dot, dash, 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 dot. You're going to get 6 different symbols from here. You're going to get the hashtag, you're going to get the music sign, you're going to get the heart, you're going to get the upside down U, you're going to get the and symbol, and you're going to get this E, this janky looking, the euro sign. If you're from Europe, you should know what that is. And those symbols, you're going to be like, well, what are these symbols? But if you look at this familiar sheet of paper, there's going to be a cipher here. And there's going to be words, and there's going to be those symbols filling in the other words. And I didn't look at this in this playthrough, but there's that exact same note down here. Exactly the same note, word for word, letter for letter, except it's completely in English. It's all normal letters. So we've got your goal to find the 3 parts to the 5-digit code and escape. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to compare the note near the entrance with the note in the attic. And you're going to have to figure out, by doing some basic evaluation, what each of those symbols is. So if we look at the word your goal, Heart is one of our symbols. So we know the first word is your. The second word of that note downstairs is goal. So we know that heart is the letter L. So every time you see a heart in this piece of paper, that's the letter L. So you're going to have to do that for every letter. You're going to have to look at or for every shape, I mean. You're going to have to look at the shape. We've got music symbol. We're going to have to figure out what's the 1, 2, 3, fourth word of this piece of paper. Third letter. It's music symbol. So we're going to have to figure out what letter that is. And when you do that, it takes a minute. It's a little tedious. You got to decipher it. I'd highly recommend some pencil and paper or some sort of note-taking pad, but it's going to give you the word unlock. So if you do type in UNLOCK on this word board, that's going to pop open the bookshelf for you. And that's probably the hardest puzzle on this map. It's hard to decipher that. Hard to do. Now, there's going to be a maze down here, and this maze is going to be important. We're going to come back to that. Come through, and we've got 4 different colors here. Now, if you just kind of scroll in all willy-nilly and, you know, okay, let's see what's in here, you're not really going to make it very far. You're going to end up coming back to here. You need to go in there with a game plan. A game plan makes all the difference. Now, if we look at this maze is essentially a guide through those vents. We have a start point and an end point. So picture yourself as a little person in that maze at the start point. And you're going to want to first go right to the gray side. There's colors to help you, but you can just do it based off direction. So you're going to go right to the gray, straight to the blue, right to the gray again, straight to the blue, left to the brown, backwards towards the green, left to the brown, forward towards the blue, left to the brown, backwards towards the green. And that is going to be the combinations of turns you're going to have to take within this little ventilation system. So we've got first we're going right towards the gray, forward towards the blue, right towards the gray, forward towards the blue. We're going to have left towards the brown. We're going to back towards the green, left towards the brown, up towards the blue, brown, and finally green. And that is going to pop us out straight to the vent, which I don't know how this vent was so small when it had so many turns, but we made it through. And we're going to have the third and final piece of paper. Now, these 3 pieces of paper hold the 5-digit code to escape the map. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to trace all of these 3 pieces of paper. If you align the star to the bottom right-hand corner, because each one is positioned differently, you're going to have to trace all of these symbols. You can either do it just by eye, like just look at it and figure out, all right, this one will be here, this one will be here. Or you could put the paper up onto your monitor and trace it, which is easier and I'd recommend it. But you're going to have to trace all 3 of these pieces of paper. This one down here. And each one is positioned differently. So you're going to have to line them up with that little golden star in the bottom right-hand corner. And finally, the last piece of paper is up in the safe. And those 3 pieces of paper, when correctly aligned, those little black squiggles turn into a number code. And that number code is 8. Takes a while. 5, 2, 8, 9. I'll pop the door open, and that is the escape room. If you made it this far on the map, I appreciate you playing. This is probably the hardest map I've ever made. You got Castaway Ostrich, which you can sit by the fire and enjoy his company. You're always welcome at my fire, my friend. Yeah, and if you want your name added to the board, these are 3 of my play testers. Huge shout out to Dupe, Duck, and Muffin. Some of the best people I know. Mr. Snowman, you can send me a screenshot of you and your friends by the fire, and I'll add all your names to the board with whatever color you want your name to be. You can let me know. If you don't care, I'll just pick something fun. I just thought this is the first time I've done something like this in a map, but I just thought, what not? Why not, you know? These maps are something special. People should be remembered. But thanks for playing, y'all. These maps really aren't possible without you. that's all from me. Happy holidays, y'all. Peace.